North Korea has fired a long-range missile in what is viewed as a major escalation. It's the first time it has launched an intercontinental ballistic missile since 2017.
In the heart of Asia, North Korea, governed by the Kim dynasty, operates as a fortress of secrecy, effectively concealing a multitude of aspects of its existence from the watchful eyes of the global community. Behind strongly guarded walls lie dark secrets, from carefully staged elections to the existence of the pleasure squad. Join us as we reveal 10 dark secrets that North Korea doesn't want you to know. Number 10. Laughter ban when North Korea's previous leader Kim Jong-il passed away in December 2011. The country went into an 11-day mourning period during which extreme restrictions were placed on any activities that might be seen as disrespectful or entertaining. Laughing, drinking alcohol, grocery shopping, and other everyday activities were temporarily banned. As a sign of reverence for the deceased, dear leader, North Koreans could not partake in anything considered joyful or leisurely. Retail shops shut down, limiting shopping, restaurants did not serve liquor, public laughter or rowdy behavior was prohibited. The population could only engage in somber rituals venerating their former leader. Across the country, North Koreans wept openly and choreographed displays of collective grief. Many mourners were indeed sincere, but others also had to feign sadness to appear loyal or else risk punishment. Mourning assemblies were also held by workplaces and social organizations to reinforce the atmosphere of sorrow. State media emphasized how the very heavens and nature were grieving Kim Jong-il's death through supernatural signs. Reports claimed a giant lake on the sacred Mount Paektu turned red, signifying the leader's bloodline, and that snow fell on the mountain for the first time in a century. Number 9. Brutal 3 generations of punishment policy. Under North Korea's draconian 3 generations of punishment policy, if one family member is convicted of a political crime or even just suspected anti-state activities, not only is that person harshly punished, but their entire extended family can face equally severe penalties purely by association. This collective punishment echoes through 3 generations. Grandparents, parents, siblings, spouses, and children of the accused individual are all investigated. Without exception, they are all rounded up and sentenced to long detentions in horrible labor camps, even for the most minor transgression by one relative. The cycle continues as even newborns in the family may end up incarcerated. The barbarity of condemning generations of innocents for another's alleged crimes demonstrates the shocking lengths the North Korean regime will go to stamp out dissent and opposition. Collective punishment ensures North Koreans police their own families and communities to avoid bringing risk upon loved ones. Brainwashing begins young with mandatory self-criticism sessions in schools to instill loyalty and make children informed even on their own parents if any disloyal utterances or acts occur at home. Absolute purity of allegiance to the Kim dynasty must be maintained even at the cost of tearing families apart. This 3-generation system compounds the already horrific human rights violations inherent in North Korea's forced labor camps, where an estimated 120,000 people endure hellish conditions. Entire families wasting away together is seen as just another potent warning to the broader population. Number 8. Hackers and cryptocurrency. North Korean state-sponsored hacking groups have orchestrated some of the biggest cryptocurrency thefts in recent years, raking in billions of dollars worth of digital coins to fund the regime and its weapons programs. Groups like Lazarus Group operate with the blessing of the Pyongyang government to infiltrate cryptocurrency exchanges and steal crypto assets through phishing, malware, and cyber intrusions. Cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin appealed to North Korean hackers because they provide a means to bring in funds while circumventing the international sanctions imposed on the rogue state. North Korea built up significant hacking capabilities. Focused on cryptocurrency theft, groups like Lazarus conducted massive attacks on exchanges in places like South Korea, stealing hundreds of millions in crypto assets in single raids. In 2022, North Korea-linked hackers were responsible for stealing a staggering $3.8 billion worth of digital currency globally. This was up 40% from the previous year, indicating Pyongyang's growing ambitions in this profitable illicit activity. Major hacks targeting Ronan Bridge and Harmony's Horizon Bridge accounted for over $1 billion in thefts. The regime denies any role, but telltale signs like the malware code used to point to Lazarus Group, which is controlled by North Korea's primary intelligence agency. The stolen cryptocurrency gets laundered through over-the-counter brokers and mixing services to obscure its path before ending up in Pyongyang's hands. North Korea pioneered using cryptocurrency theft as a way for sanctioned nations to fund weapons of mass destruction. The regime devotes elite technical talent to continually updating hacking methods and exploits. For instance, North Korean hackers shifted their approach from targeting exchanges to cross-chain bridges and swapped stolen Ethereum for Bitcoin to avoid blockchain analysis. Number 7. Hidden drug trade. North Korea's shadowy involvement in the illicit drug trade is one of the regime's best-kept secrets. Despite presenting itself to the world as a lawful and principled nation, North Korea covertly produces and traffics drugs, most notably methamphetamines like crystal meth. This hidden drug trade has operated for decades, providing crucial revenue streams that help prop up North Korea's isolated regime and fraud. While North Korea officially has strict laws prohibiting the production, sale, and use of illegal drugs, the reality is that the state is directly involved in the manufacturing and distribution of drugs. Defector accounts indicate state-run factories and laboratories in North Korea covertly mass-produced methamphetamines and other illicit substances. The regime relies on the expertise of scientists and technical experts to synthesize the drugs. Methamphetamine production appears to be concentrated in the northern provinces of North Korea, such as Hangyeongbuk-do and Yanggang-do. These remote mountainous regions provide the cover and secrecy for clandestine drug manufacturing to occur away from prying eyes. Production is facilitated by ready access to precursor chemicals from North Korea's extensive chemical and pharmaceutical industries. The illicit narcotics, once manufactured, are trafficked beyond North Korea's borders through intricate smuggling networks maintained by the state. North Korean diplomats have even been implicated in trafficking drugs under the cover of their diplomatic privileges. Seizures of drugs in neighboring countries like China have revealed the global reach of North Korea's illicit drug pipeline. In the 1990s, North Korea began exporting methamphetamines to foreign buyers. Using the profits as hard currency, Japan and the Philippines were the initial target markets. Now, crystal meth and other drugs from North Korea have made their way around the world, reaching places as far as the United States, Canada, Australia, and Europe. The scale of North Korea's drug trade is substantial, amounting to an estimated $1 billion in profits per year. These illicit earnings have become a financial lifeline for Kim Jong-un's regime. Number 6. Secretive shadow economy. Behind North Korea's official state-controlled economy lies an entire secretive and often illegal shadow economy that many ordinary citizens rely on for survival. This hidden system fills gaps when the dysfunctional planned economy fails to provide for people's needs. Foremost among this shadow economy are unofficial farmers' markets known as Yeongmadang, where North Koreans can buy and sell goods, get imported products from China, and earn income outside the government's economic structures. These markets started spontaneously during the 1990s famine when public distribution systems collapsed. The regime officially bans these private markets, but has learned to tolerate them to avoid further social instability. Their prevalence reveals the failure of North Korea's collectivized agriculture and industry to supply people adequately. In addition, North Korean state entities engage in various illegal enterprises like smuggling banned luxury goods, counterfeiting foreign currency, and cybercrime operations to generate hard currency for the regime. These activities form another tier of the secretive shadow economy that contradicts North Korea's official policies. Number 5. Brutality inside Camp 22 prison. Camp 22, situated in the northeastern Horyong region of North Korea, is likely the most heinous of the country's infamous political prison labor camps, or Kwanliso. Those who suffer the misfortune of being sentenced to Camp 22 face brutal conditions designed to inflict maximum physical misery and psychological trauma. According to estimates, as many as 50,000 prisoners languish inside Camp 22, many serving life terms or receiving the death penalty. crimes warranting being thrown into this nightmare gulag range from political dissent to criticizing the regime to suspected disloyalty. Often, though, not just the perpetrator, but multiple generations of their family also end up imprisoned. Inmates endure wretched living conditions including malnutrition, disease without medical care, barely survivable temperatures inside uninsulated shacks, and constant exhaustion from back-breaking manual slave labor such as logging, mining, and farm work. Beatings and torture are common for the slightest infractions or disobedience. An estimated 20–25% of prisoners die each year due to the camp's appalling conditions. Public executions by firing squads or worse are carried out before inmates to stamp out any flicker of resistance. The elderly, children, and pregnant women are not spared such misery. Entire families end up condemned to this hellish captive squalor for life. Number 4. Mandatory hairstyles. The North Korean government maintains strict control over even people's hairstyles, permitting only plain, conservative styles deemed acceptable by the regime. Enforcing uniform looks is another way the state exerts control over individualism. North Korea has approved only 28 hairstyles total for men and women to choose from. Men's hair must be between 1 to 5 centimeters in length. Short, simple cuts with side partings or flat bangs are allowed. Dyeing hair is prohibited for men. For women, longer hair is tolerated, but fashionable styling is forbidden. Only straight cuts and side ponytails are condoned. No frivolous coloring, perms, braids, or modern layered cuts. Makeup must be muted as well, with nail polish limited to pale colors. Violating these restrictions on personal grooming can earn criticism or penalties from authorities. Like most elements of life in North Korea, conforming outwardly is paramount even in how one wears their hair. The goal is to cultivate a uniform society. The state denounces individualistic hairstyles as symbols of decadence and foreign influence. But dull conformity serves political purposes for the regime too. Propaganda glorifies simple lifestyles and collectivism while demonizing Western liberalism and materialism. Strict dress codes reinforce this ideology. Number 3. Horrific punishments. Being executed by anti-aircraft guns is one particularly horrific fate the North Korean regime reserves for officials who have committed grave perceived crimes against the leadership. This brutal method serves as a warning to others about the consequences of even minor disloyalty. South Korean intelligence alleges that Defense Chief Hyun Kol was executed this way in 2015 in front of hundreds of spectators for behavior such as dozing off during military events that the regime considered disrespectful to Kim Jong-un. Anti-aircraft guns are extremely powerful weapons designed to fire high-caliber rounds at aircraft in flight. Using them on humans at close range literally tears them apart. North Korea also tested these executions on mannequins to ensure maximum bodily destruction. Executions using anti-aircraft fire are intentionally public, taking place at military academies or airports for maximum exposure value as a demonstration of the regime's wrath against treason. Other officials have been purged this way for corruption. This horrific method reveals the cruel lengths dictatorial regimes will go to retain power by terrorizing subjects into total submission. North Korea stamps out any flickers of non-conformity or dissent with brutality. Number 2. Juke calendar system. North Korea utilizes a unique calendar system called the Juke calendar based on the birth year of Kim Il-sung, the founder and eternal president of North Korea. The Juke calendar stems from the ideology of Juke, introduced by Kim Il-sung, which emphasizes independence and self-reliance. It begins with Juke Year 1, corresponding to 1912 in the Gregorian calendar, the year of Kim Il-sung's birth. In 1997, North Korea adopted the Juke calendar to replace the standard Gregorian system, although both are still used. The switch emphasized rejecting foreign influences and highlighted devotion to Kim Il-sung's ideology. The Juche era became the official dating method for government documents, newspapers, public records, and other official functions. Major national holidays are calibrated based on the Juke calendar dates, instead of the Gregorian calendar. For example, Kim Il-sung's birthday is celebrated on April 15 in the Gregorian calendar, but as the Day of the Sun on April 15 in the Juke calendar. The date sticks to the Juke year it fell on, rather than converting annually. By unlinking the Gregorian system associated with Western imperialism in North Korean minds, the Juke calendar reinforces nationalism and the philosophy of independence. It cements the Kim family's cult of personality by memorializing Kim Il-sung as the eternal reference point. Some historians see parallels between the North Korean Juke calendar and the French Republican calendar created during the radical phase of the French Revolution to mark a new egalitarian society. Both discarded the Gregorian system linked to traditional power structures. Number 1. Control over personal life. The North Korean regime intrudes into and regulates almost every facet of the personal lives of citizens through an elaborate system of monitoring and rules. This suffocating level of control maintains the Kim dynasty's vice grip on power by suppressing individuality. From an early age, North Koreans face indoctrination at school with a curriculum centered on praising the Kims and Juke ideology. This primes them for submission and loyalty to the state. All media disseminates party propaganda, and any access to outside information that deviates is strictly forbidden. Surveillance pervades neighborhoods, schools, and workplaces, ensuring conformity. The Sambun system classifies citizens based on political criteria and family background, determining loyalty. This status dictates what opportunities and privileges one has access to in areas like education, occupation, and residence. The state decides where people must live and work based on political reliability, not personal choice. Movement within North Korea is tightly restricted through internal passport systems and requiring permits to travel outside one's region. Border areas are heavily guarded to prevent defections. Punishments for violations are severe. Phone calls or contact with foreigners is also prohibited without state approval to prevent any foreign subversion. Although North Korea is one of the most isolated and secretive nations in the world, there are some things we do know. So next time you're annoyed at what one might sarcastically call a first world problem, just watch this video and be thankful you're not living in North Korea. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.